Welcome back everybody. This is part 35 on What If Kid Asta Meets Noelle's Mother. I do not own Black Clover or any of the characters in this video. They belong to their own respected authors. Chapter 44. Ren flew, following Lumiere, allowing him to take the lead in finding Zagred. Ren clutched the magic stone tightly in her hand, hoping to keep her anger at bay. Lumiere mused to himself as he and Ren continued traversing through Clover in the air. Where could Zagred be? Like Asir said, his mana would be like an overflowing well, so it shouldn't be that hard to find him. If we can just pinpoint the mana flow, we could find him. Ren frowned. Right, Lumiere nodded. Let's, black flame magic, Hellblaze wave. Youch. Lumiere blinked, or at least tried to because of his stone eyes. Then he turned to face his great niece. What was that? Lumiere asked. That magic, black flame magic. Looks like Fried found him first. Ren frowned. But this sensation of mana, don't tell me she's using the angel's mana. Lumiere allowed his mana sensory to go off, and he too began to feel the angel's mana that Ren was talking about, though he could not pick up on which angel it was. Yeah, she is. Lumiere frowned. Come on Ren, let's go to that location. Looks to be a village, right? Ren nodded, swiftly following Lumiere. When the two landed in said village, it was in flames, Teresa Rapuel on the ground out cold, as well as Fried in 50%. Angel power form facing off against Zagred, who had brushed the flames out on his body before saying heal to heal himself. Just die already, Fried or Jihol growled. Fried, Ren gasped. Oh ho ho, such cruel words, Zagred retorted, shedding a fake tear. You make me want to cry, Angel. In that case, Fried or Jihol spoke venomously. Fried's body began to become more angelic. The symbol of black flame magic on her chest began to become more complete. Let's ramp it up a bit. Angel power. 60. What is going on? Lumiere questioned, readying himself and his light magic to fight against Zagred just in case something happened. Shit, Fried stop, Ren yelled, rushing to her. Zagred took notice of Ren and smiled wickedly. Oh ho, an elf-human hybrid. Zagred commented. He then looked up and saw Lumiere, which made him smile even more. And Lumiere, too. Oh boy, it's like it's my birthday and I just got the best gifts I could ever ask for. His wicked smile remained, but his voice became a bit more serious. But before I deal with you two, I have this pesky angel host to take care of. Iron lances. Several iron lances rose up from the ground in an attempt to impale Fried. However, not only did she ignore Ren's words and her rushing towards her, but she flew up into the air to evade the iron lances. You think I'd fall for that, Zagred? Fried or Jihol snarled, though it was more so Jihol's voice than Fried's. Just die. Black flame magic. Sinner's purgatory. With a swipe of her arms, Fried releases an explosion of black flames from her body over a large area to engulf Zagred. Did I get him? Fried or Jihol wondered aloud. Just as she said that, get down, Ren yelled, grabbing her. Ren pulled her down as a storm of swords flew over their heads. Lumiere created a light magic sword and used it to parry the swords Zagred had fired. While some broke, others didn't. Looks like some of these are physical, Lumiere noted with a frown. That's right, Zagred confirmed as he flew out of the explosion of black flame magic, mostly unharmed. He then looked down at Ren, who had Fried on the ground, to which he saw said Blaquette struggling against Ren. I didn't think she'd struggle that much. After all, the elf-human hybrid did save her life. After all, ugh, let me go. Hybrid, Fried or Jihol demanded, struggling to get out of Ren's pin on them. And have you damaged Fried's body more than you already have? Ren glared at her. At Ren's words, an apparition of Jihol appeared, a curvaceous young woman with long wavy black hair and black eyes. She possesses a pair of wings. She wears a gray skin-tight outfit with feather-themed headdress. What are you talking about, hybrid? Jihol scowled. Fried has accepted my mana and my magic. Look closely at her body and you'll know what I mean, Angel. Ren growled. Jihol did so and grew wide-eyed to see crack-like injuries across Fried's body where the transformations were forming. She's not accepting your mana. You're pushing and forcing your mana into her body. Doing it this way damages the host's body, which can cause permanent damage, and if you continue to do it, you'll end up killing her. Ren frowned. Jihol, in her apparition form, looked down at Fried Rapuel, her angel host. Despite her anger at Zagred, she felt guilt wash over as she continued to look down at her angel host. Jihol began before trailing off. Release the process. Now, Ren spoke firmly. Or do you want her to lose all motion on one of her limbs? And Jihol spoke softly, waving her right hand. thus removing the 60% angel power transformation on Fried. Though it was removed, the transformation itself was etched in Fried's body, like hieroglyphics you'd see in a pyramid. Ha 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 ha. Zagred laughed darkly, snapping his fingers in realization. Now I remember you. You're Jihol, also known by all as the Devil Slayer. Man, why didn't I see it sooner when I was fighting your angel host? Fried Rapuel. Jihol looked up at Zagred and glared daggers at him. Before she could retort hotly to his remark, Lumiere spoke up first. Devil Slayer. Lumiere frowned. Oh yes. Zagred grinned wickedly, as the name implies. Jihol here has brutally killed countless devils. So brutally, in fact, that the people she was aiming to protect at the time began to hate her. Shut up, Jihol muttered. Oh ho, and we can't forget the fact that you were assigned to protect the common realm while your angel higher-ups fought against us. Zagred added, I know it made you angry that you were given such a small and menial task, and you failed at that miserably, being banished from each and every village you went to because of your violent methods to deal with us devils. Ha 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 ha. I said shut up, Jihol roared angrily at Zagred. Keep calm, your anger will force your mana into Fried again. Ren yelled at Jihol. Ha ha ha. How can she possibly stay calm while I, a devil, am still living and breathing? Zagred asked mockingly. The answer is obvious. She can't, because she was not taught by her kin how to be calm around others properly, especially devils. Now I'm really getting annoyed. We have to defeat him here and now, Ren thought, agitated, setting Fried down. Ren, Lumiere called down to his great niece. Tempest of blades, Zagred declares once again. Thus more swords rained down from the sky towards Ren and Fried, in addition to Lumiere. But Lumiere evaded, while Ren got herself and the knocked-out Fried out of the way. Come on now, entertain me. Entertain me like that angel host did. Let's see if you can get me to use my magic through my grimoire. How could you possibly have a grimoire? Jihol demanded. Suddenly, Ren recalled Patry and growled. Now I get it. You took Patry's grimoire after you brought him to the brink of despair. She scowled. That's right, Zagred confirmed, holding up Patry's original 4-leaf clover grimoire that was now a 5-leaf clover grimoire. Although, I originally wanted the other 4-leaf clover grimoire that was at the Spade Kingdom when I arrived at it, but unfortunately, someone else already had it as their own. Oh well, beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. 4-leaf clover grimoire and Spade? Ren thought, surprised. No matter though. Zagred continued, a 5-leaf clover grimoire is still a 5-leaf clover grimoire. Ugh, Ren growled. Now then, Zagred smiled wickedly. Entertain me, former clover prince, elf-human hybrid. We'll need to strike his heart in order to kill him. Ren informed Lumiere with a frown. Lumiere glanced at Ren and nodded. All right, ha ha ha. Good luck with that. Zagred mocked. You're going to need it. Acid rain. Suddenly, a downpour of acidic rain rained down from the sky. Shit. Light creation magic. Seraph's veil. Ren yelled, a veil of light surrounding her, Fried, and Lumiere. The acidic rain dissipated upon touching the veil of light, which made Zagred smile in amusement. Not bad hybrid. Zagred commented, but you forgot about someone. Ha ha ha. Fried opens her eyes and looks around. Wah. Fried spoke groggily. What happened? What? Ren noticed the unconscious Teresa. Oh shit. Teresa groaned, waking up slowly, only to get pelted by the acidic rain, thus causing her to wince. Aw god damn it. At hearing her great aunt's voice, Fried bolted up, wincing as a result, but she ignored it. Aunt Teresa, Fried cried out. Ren quickly flexed her fingers to stretch the veil to shield Teresa as well from the acidic rain. Zagred watched in amusement before calling off his acid rain. Oh ho, not bad, Zagred remarked before laughing again. But you can't win against me if you just keep playing defense. Then how about this? Light creation. Magic. Seraph's blades. Ren launched her blades of light forward as they flew towards Zagred. Just as the blades of light were about to cut Zagred, his lips curled upwards. Return. Just like that, the blades of light did a 180 and flew back towards Ren. Nice going. Hybrid. The apparition of Jihol scowled. Stop. Ren shouted, the blades, stopping at their tracks before floating next to Ren. And if you don't have anything useful to say, Angel, then muzzle it. Excuse me. Jihol screeched. Long-range attacks won't work with him. We'll need to get up close and personal. Faye frowned, ignoring Jihol. I can help you get closer. Lumiere spoke up. But you'll have to stay near me. Otherwise my mana zone may not pick you up. Got it. Ren nodded, motioning her hand so the veil curled around Fried and Teresa in a sphere-like shape. Light magic mana zone. lamp of Avior Gloria. Lumiere declared as he created light magic swords on his forearms and flew towards Zagred. Ren unsheathed her sword and swiftly followed closely behind Lumiere, ready to strike. Zagred began to fly around the area, waiting for Ren and Lumiere to make their next move before going for an attack of his own. Ren swiftly flew behind, while Lumiere flew forward. Got him, they thought, raising their blades. Jihol, as an apparition, watched the two getting ready to strike Zagred from the front and back of him. A clever strategy, Jihol noted, before frowning. If it was against any other devil that was below the high and supreme ranking devils, Lumiere came forward with a stab towards Zagred's chest, while Ren went to stab his back. Freed, Jihol, and Teresa hear the sound of both Ren and Lumiere's swords going through Zagred's body. Did they get him? Freed wondered aloud. Considering that I fought against him earlier, I am uncertain, Teresa remarked with a frown. Hearing this, Jihol's black eyes widened slightly. Wait, what the hell? Jihol partially shrieked. You're a regular human, right? How in the actual hell did you survive against a high-ranking devil like Zagred? Please, tell me your secret. If you treat my great niece right, then maybe I'll tell you, Teresa retorted nonchalantly. Jihol just grunted in irritation as she watched the light die down to reveal Zagred pretty much unharmed. Ha ha ha, really now? That's the best you'd have to offer. Zagred mocked both Ren and Lumiere as he silently spoke heal to heal his injuries. Damn it, we missed. Ren growled. Chi. I thought we had him. Lumiere frowned. Suddenly, his face began to crack, but he ultimately ignored it and focused on the fight at hand. What were you aiming for? My heart, Zagred mocked. Good luck striking it. Judging by the body composition, I say you can change where your heart is. Ren frowned. Zagred wagged his right index finger. A magician doesn't reveal his secrets. Zagred replied. That's all the confirmation we need, Lumiere remarked, forming a giant light magic arrow above himself. Then we'll slash you until we strike your heart, Ren said, readying her sword. Zagred spread his arms out. Go ahead, hybrid. Zagred retorted. Do your worst. Not like it matters in the end. Blazing ice. As soon as he said it, several balls of flaming ice appeared before launching themselves towards Ren and Lumiere. You can't dodge forever, you know, Ren growled, slashing through several balls while using her blades to pierce the rest. If anyone is running away, it's you with how much you're distancing yourself from us by launching all this crap. She growled. I'm sorry. Am I supposed to fight up close and personal? Zagred questioned mockingly. Sorry. Us devils don't play by your rules. We do whatever we want, whenever we want. But seriously, you humans and elves are so easy to manipulate. I took that dream of elves and humans coexisting and crushed it in the palm of my hand. He then frowned. Though it seems I didn't crush it hard enough, considering you're here hybrid. My sister survived the assault you did on Lick's elf tribe, Lumiere retorted. You weren't as thorough as you first thought, and because that's the case, elf-human hybrids exist in our world. Thanks to Seeker, Tisha survived that day. And as the grandchild of the leader whose tribe you destroyed, I'll kill you for your crimes, Ren growled, pointing her sword at Zagred. Crimes, Zagred repeated. Oh no, dear hybrid, if anyone's committed crimes against the Clover Kingdom, it's that young elf, Patry. This whole mess started because of you in the first place, Ren snarled. And while I'll make sure Patry gets the punishment of all punishments once I'm through with you, for all the suffering, cruelties, atrocities you put my grandmother, my grandfather, and his tribe through, you'll be wishing you stayed in your cesspool of hell. Oh ho! Zagred grinned. How threatening. And consider this your requiem, Lumiere declared, swiping his right arm down. Thus his giant light magic arrow flew down towards Zagred and went straight through his body, causing it to explode in all directions. Afterwards, Lumiere's stone body began to crack even more, some of his stone skin falling off. Even his arms and legs began to crack. Lumiere, Ren gasped. I'm fine, Ren. Lumiere smiled lightly as his body continued to crack and fall apart. At least I got him. Yeah, I got you. Ren choked, feeling a claw grip her neck in a death grip. Looking over to see Zagred smirking wickedly at her. Ren, Faye gasped. Damn you. Ren choked, clawing at Zagred's hand. Ren, Lumiere flew forward, only for Zagred to raise his free hand up and form a trident from the underworld through his word soul magic. The spell he cast to summon said trident was spoken in devil language. Take one more step, or one more flight step in your case, and the hybrid dies, Zagred sneered. Ren, Lumiere spoke softly, now uncertain on what to do. If he took another step, his great niece would die by Zagred's hand. But if he did nothing, she'd probably still end up dying by Zagred's hand anyway. What do I do? Lumiere, don't let me stop you. Ren choked, glaring daggers at Zagred. He needs to be stopped. Strike him down, hurry. But if I do that, then, Lumiere began, trailing off soon thereafter. Ha 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 ha. Zagred laughed. You can't kill me without killing your hybrid great niece. How cute. And also how sad and pathetic. Lumiere clenched his hands into fists. Lumiere spoke softly. I can't do it. No, you can't. Zagred mocked as he raised the trident and slammed it into Ren's neck. Now then, before he could finish and cut or slash Ren's head off, several gear-like magic circles appeared all over Zagred's body, thus slowing him down tremendously. What? Ren gasped. That spell. Faye grew wide-eyed. What the? Lumiere and Zagred gasped. Time magic. Chrono devil gear. Plus time magic. Dim minutes. A shadowy or dark orb of time magic appeared above Zagred before it reproduced into numerous orbs that began to blast at Zagred in multiple directions all at once. Arg! Zagred cried out, letting Ren go as a result. Ren quickly moved away, clutching her neck with a slight cough as Faye swiftly flew to her. Are you okay? Faye quickly asked. Yeah, I'll be fine. But what? Ren grew wide-eyed as she turned and looked at the one standing or rather floating between her and Zagred. Who's that? Lumiere asked, looking at the black-haired, amber-eyed male, who wore the Golden Dawn squad robe. Yuno spoke towards Zagred. You stay away from Ren, you hear me? Zagred blinked several times and shook his head, shortly regaining his composure as the orbs that attacked him earlier, as well as the magic circle that made him sluggish initially had now vanished from around him and encasing him. Once he regained his vision, he turned his attention towards Yuno. Zagred questioned. Ren could only look at Yuno speechless, feeling her heart pounding against her chest. Yeah, me, Yuno replied, bell flying next to him. And you're going down, Zagred. It's really him. Ren thought, speechless. Oh ho, really? Zagred retorted, taking notice of the devil mark on the left side of Yuno's forehead. I see you've made a contract with the time magic devil ruler of the underworld, Astaroth. Not by my choice, Yuno replied nonchalantly, but despite that, I must thank Avazo Gratis for forcing the contract on me. Now I can fight against you devils no problem. Oh you, the ears and that mark, Faye gasped, staring at Yuno. What? Yuno questioned. The pointy ears, you idiot. How the hell are you still conscious? Faye gasped. And when the heck did you get more power from that devil magic? It's still me, Faye. Yuno deadpanned. All I'm feeling is an extra boost in my magic. Nothing special. You're possessed by an elf, you idiot. Faye yelled. No, I'm not. Yuno replied nonchalantly. It's as I told you. It's still me, Yuno. How the hell is this possible? All the humans who have been possessed by the elves should have their consciousnesses be put to sleep while the elf consciousness dominates the body. Faye thought, flabbergasted. So how could? Wait, it couldn't be. Oi Ren, Faye began, but stopped himself to see the expression on Ren's face. Oh right. Oh, I think I get it. Lumiere spoke up, snapping his fingers in realization. The elf soul inside that golden Dawn boy is the soul of Licht and Tisha's dead son. That explains why he hasn't been elf possessed. That sounds right. The boy never survived in the womb, only Ren's mom did. Faye grimaced. But to think his soul, a newborn baby's soul at that, would still be part of all this. Zagred snickered out of amusement at the thought before laughing again. Ha ha ha. Zagred laughed darkly. How fascinating. I didn't think an unborn child's soul would be tied to my reincarnation magic spell that I placed on Licht's elf tribe. Good to know. Why you? Faye growled. Normally I wouldn't say these particular words, but in this case, I will. Zagred grinned maliciously. I think you'll find these words to be quite intriguing. He paused to take a small breath, then spoke again. Soul split. What? Faye gasped. Before Yuno could cast another spell, wind or time magic, he gasped as he felt his body being ripped in half, thus causing him to scream in agonizing pain. Ah-ha. Ah-ha-ha. Zagred laughed darkly. Yuno. Ren shrieked. After another few excruciating seconds, the elf soul inside of Yuno came out and turned into a body. A young man around Yuno's age stood, his hair white and his ears pointy. He slowly opened his eyes to reveal light green before he slowly looked around. What? He slowly said. No way. Faye gasped. Oh wow. Lumiere breathed in awe. Ren was gaping utterly in shock, feeling herself swaying at what she was looking at. Now, Zagred began, speaking towards the elf-human hybrid. Do me a favor, hybrid. Kill your family. You may look 16, but your mind is that of a baby's. So come on, and do it for me, hum. No thank you. the male hybrid stated bluntly. Zagred blinked in slight confusion at the male hybrid's words. What? Zagred questioned. Why ever not? Who would listen to a disfigured gremlin? The male hybrid asked bluntly, his blank expression unchanging. Zagred just stared at the male hybrid in disbelief, while Belle, Faye, Lumiere, Teresa, Fried, Jihol's apparition, as well as couldn't help but laugh at the male hybrid's blunt remark towards the word soul magic devil. Pfft. Faye and Belle choked. Yep, he is the elf version of Fried snickered. I agree, Jihol laughed. Although, what should the name of this male elf-human hybrid be? Worry about giving a name later. Snapped. For right now, we have to focus on Zagred, Ren, and First Wizard King. Let's do this. Oh, how cute. The little spade prince is taking command. Zagred retorted mockingly. Was taken aback by Zagred calling him Spade Prince. What? Frowned. Zagred just laughed and brushed Yuno's confused question aside, thus reforming his trident. Oh, never mind my comment. Zagred grinned, beckoning to Lumiere and to come at him. Now come. He looked over at Ren, who was unmoving. Ahaha. Oh dear, looks like hybrid number 1 is in a state of shock. In that case, he flew towards the shocked Ren. I'll just finish her off right here. Just before Zagred can use his underworld trident to impale Ren, he gets blown away by winds. Vortex magic. Imperial wrath of the great wind, the male hybrid declared while raising both of his arms upwards. Just as Zagred recovered from the first one, a second vortex magic, Imperial wrath of the great wind casted by the male elf-human hybrid, slammed into him, thus sending him flying away much further than the first one did. So far, in fact, that he became a flash in the sky, the last thing the small group heard come out of Zagred's mouth before he disappeared from their line of view was this. I'm blasting off again. Wow. Lumiere blinked. Well, that was something. Agreed, equally as surprised as Lumiere. Oh, steam is coming out of Ren's head. Faye deadpanned, looking at his master, Lumiere, and the male hybrid look over at Ren, while actual steam wasn't coming out of Ren. What the three males did see was that Ren was in a complete state of shock, hence why she didn't react to anything going on ever since Zagred split Yuno's elf counterpart's soul from Yuno's body. Raised his right arm up and waved his right hand in front of Ren's face. Lumiere did the same thing a few moments after. Both times resulted in no response from the dark bluette female elf-human hybrid. Yeah, all the knockouts got her frozen. Faye sighed. What do we do? Lumiere questioned, slightly panicked. I have no idea, remarked, albeit his own voice filled with some panic as well. She's in condition to continue fighting for right now, so I'd suggest taking Ren somewhere she can. Oh, what's the word? Snap out of her shock. And I'm sure Belle would agree with me on this. You can just kiss her out of the shock. Faye deadpanned. Looked over at Faye and gave him a somewhat blank expression. That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. Deadpanned. So stupid in fact, that it might just work. Suddenly, spirit dive was undone to his surprise and looked at Belle, who had her hands on her hips. Then what are you waiting for? Get to it. About the time you made a move anyway, she told Belle, spoke softly before lightly smiling. All right, I'll do it. He's going to do what? The male hybrid asked, but interrupted and he almost gagged at kissing Ren on the cheek. Gah. I did not need to see that. Least not in the middle of a war-zone kingdom. Ren stiffened with a squeak in shock before blinking and slowly looked up. She choked. Oh good, it worked. Sighed in relief. Now, yelped to find himself pinned down by Ren, her emerald gaze staring down at him. You horrible young man. Zenon made me think you were dead, she whimpered, clutching his chest. I thought I lost you. Please, she choked tearfully. Please don't leave me. Smiled and stroked her face with his right hand, then stroked her hair with his left hand or the other way around. I won't, Ren, told her. Least not for another 75-90 years. Ren choked a watery laugh before gripping and kissed him deeply to his surprise while everyone gaped at the sight. Both Belle and Faye cheer in complete and utter victory that their masters have finally gotten together. Finally, Belle and Faye cheered. There is a God in the world. Thank you. Faye cheered, while Teresa, Fried and Jihol in apparition form chuckled lightly at the sight. The male hybrid and elf counterpart to just groaned, while Lumiere put a hand to his forehead. Oh God, they're going to be just as cheesy as Licht and Tisha, Lumiere muttered. And I can deal with that, Belle yelled. Was still surprised as Ren moved back panting softly and staring at moaned out. Now it was his turn to be speechless shocked. Oh Ren cooed softly, stroking his cheek. At Ren's touch, Yuno snapped out of it and looked back at her. Yes, Ren. Yuno asked, I love you. Ren smiled softly. Yuno smiled back at Ren. I love you too. Ren, Fried, Jihol in apparition form, and Teresa just smiled, while Yuno's elf counterpart and Lumiere facepalmed. Yup, 100% like Licht and Tisha, Lumiere groaned. Ren curled closely to Yuno for a moment when she suddenly gasped, quickly looking at the elf counterpart. Dead uncle, she yelped, pointing at said counterpart. Oh, hello there, Yuno's elf counterpart remarked. Yes, that's right, I'm your dead uncle, or rather, was your dead uncle. Wait, how do you know I'm your niece? You died when you were in the womb. Ren blinked. Yuno's elf counterpart gave Ren a blank stare, unimpressed. You literally just shouted dead uncle, then pointed at me, the male hybrid told her nonchalantly. Or did you not hear your own outburst, and you believe it that fast? Faye questioned. Yuno's elf counterpart turned to look at Faye, his blank expression not changing from he first showed up. Minus the part with Ren and Yuno going all lovey-dovey at each other, he rolled his eyes at Faye, then waved his arms around before gesturing back to Ren. Do you see another female elf-human hybrid with green eyes and dark blue hair around? Pixie, Yuno's elf counterpart deadpanned. Because if you do, please show me. Oh, we have another Yuno. Belle sweat dropped. Darn it, Faye muttered. What did you expect? Yuno questioned. His soul has been inside my body since I was born, apparently. My head hurts, Ren sighed. Let's go and check up on the Silvas and Licht, Lumiere suggested. Maybe Licht got all the elf-possessed people in the same location by now. Right, Fried? Stay here and be sure the humans of this village stay safe until we clear up everything, Ren instructed. Fried has no reason to stay here, Teresa spoke up. I've already had everyone evacuate the moment I felt something in the air was off. She felt arms on her shoulders and she looked up at her great niece, Fried. I want to stay here with you for a while, Aunt Teresa, Fried told her. Considering I haven't seen you since I joined the Amber Phoenix Magic Night Squad, I just thought it'd be nice to spend time with you. How about this? Teresa lightly hugged her great niece. After this whole mess with the elves is over, and I tell everyone that I had evacuate to return to Neen, I'll give your captain a call to let me visit. She then chuckled, remembering what a certain vermilion-haired woman would do. Or I could just invite myself in by busting the door to your squad down. Wait, Teresa. No way you can't be that, Teresa. Ren gasped. Teresa, still holding her great niece, turned to face Ren with a smile on her lips. If by Crimson she leopard, then yes, it's me, Teresa retorted. Was a part of the Crimson Lions before I retired from the job and decided to work for the church. It's been a long time, Ren. Indeed, it's been years. Never thought you'd be a nun, Ren remarked in surprise. Teresa just laughed lightly at Ren's words, while Fried looked up at Ren, an odd expression written on her face. Aunt Teresa, who's that? Fried asked, thumbing towards Ren. That Fried dear is Ren Ombra, current leader of the Elysia elf tribe, Teresa replied. You know each other? Lumiere asked his great niece. Ye, though back then she was a magic knight at the time. She was the one who had brought Aesir and Aesir's sister to the Heart Kingdom as part of an exchange program for young mages. Ren explained. Oh, Fried smiled lightly. That's good, right? It was for the most part, Teresa remarked. Though our Clover Queen was quite a curious child back then, she grinned before continuing. Got in trouble with Ren too. Fried was about to ask what Queen Aesir got in trouble for, but Teresa waved her hand dismissively. It's in the past, Fried, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Besides, we have more pressing issues to worry about, Ren added. Oh yeah, Fried laughed lightly as she got out of her great aunt's embrace. Speaking of which, would it be alright if I came W? No, Yuno told her bluntly. Huh? Faye and Belle blinked. What? Why not? Fried asked Yuno. If you're thinking I have some disdain for you, you're wrong. Yuno told the Blaquette girl that's on the Amber Phoenix squad. It's because of your injuries. Or do you not remember what Ren told you and that angel of yours earlier? He's right, Fried? Or did you not notice the permanent imprints on your body those angel marks left? Ren deadpanned. Fried blinked, looking down to see Ren was right. Oh, Fried mumbled. I'll go back to my squad's base then. No, you're not. You're in no condition to use your magic to do that. Ren deadpanned. You are to stay here with Teresa until I talk with your captain and have either her or one of your squad mates pick you up to take you back to the base, or, as a personal healer myself, will talk to your captain into ordering you in timeout bed rest for a month. Are we clear? Fried meeped, but nodded. Why yes, Ren. Fried spoke softly. Good girl. Let's go, boys. Ren said, standing up elegantly while the others blinked speechless. Geez, she's scary, Yuno's elf counterpart muttered. Trust me, boy, you don't know the half of it, Teresa remarked at the young male elf-human hybrid. Amen, Faye snickered, following his master, Lumiere. Yuno, and Yuno's elf counterpart began to follow Ren soon thereafter. So how goes the process, Vanica? Wonderful mother. Vanica was smiling wickedly at Ava while standing by William, who was strapped onto an infirmary cot with an 4-light contraption in his arm that looked to contain glowing liquid within it. William paling and looking weak. Soon we'll have enough of his mana for the ritual. Vanica grinned. This is good. Ava smiled, looking over at the percentage of William's mana that they had drained from him. Vanica dear, once the percentage reaches 95%, release him. 95% of his mana will be plenty, especially when you're going to be repeating the same thing with Yami Sukahiro. Once we get him into our custody, this way, we get what we want, while the Clover Kingdom gets what they want. We get the necessary mana for the Tree of Cliffhoth Advent ritual while Clover gets their magic knight captains back. I don't see why we don't just kill them. Less work for us to worry about, Zenon scoffed. Ava looked over at her youngest child, her smile not leaving her lips. It's true that we could just kill them once we're done with them, Ava agreed, but considering they're nowhere the level of the Clover Queen, nor Clover's Wizard King, letting them live is far worse for them. Killing them is a mercy. Besides, she spread her arms out, they'll die anyway once the devils make it into this world. Hey they'll just become an annoyance later on, Zenon scowled. Which is why I'll be letting you handle them at that point. Zenon dear, Ava told him, use whatever methods you want to end their lives at that point. It's fair game when in a life or death fight. She paused, then added, although, I've been telling you that the last few times, haven't I, Zenon dear, and nothing came of it. She grins. So let's change that. Oh, he raised an eyebrow. Once Vanica dear gets 95% of William's mana for the Tree of Cliffhoth Advent ritual, feel free to kill him, Ava told Zenon. I'll then ship his body out of here so it goes elsewhere. Aw damn it. Ava and Zenon turned to face Morris, who was sitting at a table, his arms crossed. I wanted to modify the World Tree magic guy, but if you're just going to kill him, then I can't do that, he groaned in frustration. What the hell am I supposed to do then, if I have nothing to modify? You'll get your chance, Morris, Ava told the blind blonde male, before turning to Vanica. How's it going, Vanica? 75 done, mother, Vanica grinned double quotes do whatever you want with William's body, Zenon bluntly remarked, turning on his heel and proceeding to walk out of the room. I have somewhere to be right now anyway. If there's an assignment for me, let me know, mother. Of course, Zenon, Ava nodded, watching her youngest child leave. Just before Zenon could fully leave or close the door behind him, going to see the grave of your friend Alan, Zini, Vanica questioned lightly, smiling in amusement. I don't understand why. Regardless, I was thinking of putting graffiti on it at some point. Her smile widened. That way, you focus more on what we need to do now. I see no reason to visit the grave of someone who's long dead. At Vanica's words, Zenon stopped. The mana temperature in the area of the castle that they were in began to drop significantly. Ava shook her head and gave Vanica the you shouldn't have said that. Vanica dear, look. Before Vanica could say or do anything, Zenon, with an instant, turned around and used his bone magic, eternal fangs on Vanica, thus impaling her and slamming her against the wall. Don't you ever talk badly about Alan, or even joke about that type of crap in my presence. Zenon roared angrily at his older sister. Ava pinched the bridge of her nose, sighing. She knew that Zenon would lash out like that, not only because of what he told her about what happened on that dungeon mission he went on with Alan and the 4th Division of the Spade Kingdom's Magic Defense Force, but also because this teasing has happened before, more times than she wished to count. Vanica choked out. Zenon ultimately ignored his sister's gasping for breath and choking because of his spell. In truth, Zenon was tired of Vanica's constant teasing of him visiting the grave of his friend, a friend that he killed to keep himself and the rest of the 4th Division alive. If that devil wasn't in that dungeon, then maybe, Zenon thought. Zenon dear, Ava began. What? Zenon snapped angrily as he aggressively turned to face his mother. I think you can let Vanica go, dear, Ava replied. Zenon humphed angrily, then retracted his bone magic, eternal fang spell. Thus Vanica fell to the floor. Vanica coughed and sputtered out blood from her mouth as she not only regained her breath, but also her wounds from Zenon's spell. Now what have we learned, Vanica dear? Ava asked. Vanica looked up at her mother, gave a slight pout. To not tease Zenon, Vanica asked, still pouting, and Ava asked, to not bring up Alan? Vanica spoke, still having a pouty face on, and Ava raised an eyebrow. What, mother? That's it, right? Vanica asked. Ava grabbed Vanica's ear, making her whine. Don't go near Alan's grave, understand? Ava scolded. But Alan's dead already. Vanica complained. It's not like he can do anything to me since he's 6+ feet under. Zenon raised his right arm to fire bone magic, bone arrows at his older sister, but stopped himself. Instead, he just gave her a dirty look before turning around and walking towards the door again. And people wonder how I'm the youngest child of Adam and Eva Zogratis. Considering how immature you are, Vanica, Zenon remarked coldly, before finally leaving and slamming the door behind him. WHAD? Vanica shrieked. I ask myself that as well, Ava muttered. Mother? Vanica whined. Morris just shrugged at the recent interaction of the Zogratises before returning his attention back to his monitor. Whisk him away, mother, Vanica told her. Ava took William's body before waving her free arm to make a portal made out of mana, then threw William into it. The mana-created portal vanished shortly after. Spatial creation magic. Passion of Jonah. The giant basking shark swam in the air, quickly hitting the elf-possessed magic knights and resulting in knocking them out as Courtney panted. This is getting out of hand fast, she muttered, mildly annoyed. You're telling me. Noelle grunted as he casted mercury magic. Rain of silver. Don't know what mother has planned. All I know from what she told me before heading off to Yami's Magic Knight Squad base to check on something there was that her plan involves Asta and Noelle. Well, she better hurry. We can't keep this up forever. Courtney frowned. That's right, you can't. Humans. Several elf-possessed magic knights surrounded the Silver Eagles. Eventually you'll become too tired to fight, let alone be able to stand properly. A female elf-possessed magic knight raised her right arm up. Allow me to end your suffering right here and ack. Courtney's spatial magic shark slammed her in the chest with his tail, thus sending her flying away. God, they are annoying as hell, like a broken record. Courtney scowled in annoyance. But who's more annoying? These one-track record elves, or Solid? Noelle questioned, trying to make some sort of light-hearted joke while in the midst of a life or death fight. Solid, Courtney replied immediately, grinning a little. Yeah, Noelle agreed before groaning. If Nebra didn't have to stay inside to guard the inside of the house, she could be helping us out here. Nothing we can do about it now, Noelle, Courtney replied. We'll just have to keep on fighting these one-track record elves until Queen Aesir's plan can occur, whatever it is. Noelle could only nod before returning his attention back to the elf-possessed magic knights. Say, when was the last time we fought together? Noelle asked Courtney. Not since our early years as magic knights. Freshly joined and you still had a big boot up your bum. Courtney smirked. Noelle felt his face become hot and he coughed a bit, narrowly missing an attack from an elf-possessed magic knight. Yes, well, Noelle began. You two had some trouble back then. He then grumbled. Though not as much as me. No, 'cause you wanted to beat Fugolian and everything. Courtney laughed, easily shooting back another elf-possessed magic knight. Because we were rivals, Noelle humphed, creating mercury magic shields for himself and Courtney, and we still are. I'm not going to let Fugolian become the wizard king before me. Same applies to Asta and Yeah, but back then you were a menace. You wanted to compete with him on everything. She snickered, launching another spell to attack. It took years for you to simmer down. Humph, Noelle grunted. I only simmered down because of you. He paused, then added, not that I mind or anything. Neither did I. Courtney smiled. Hey lovebirds, an elf-possessed magic knight groaned loudly. If you want to make out, do it in the afterlife, 'cause that's where you're going. Aw, jealous? Courtney teased with a smirk. Why you? The elf-possessed male magic knight growled before gasping and looking down to see a few mercury magic silver spears going right through his body. Damn you humans. He was then knocked out, to which Noelle retracted his spell and watched the out-cold elf-possessed male magic knight fall to the ground. It'd suck to be that guy. Noelle laughed lightly. Wasn't that a bit much? Courtney asked. Noelle glanced at Courtney and slightly deadpanned. Yes, because creating a spatial magic shark is so much less overkill, Noelle told her, a blank expression on his face. The goal is to knock them out, right? That's what I'm doing. It wasn't like I was gonna have it eat them. Courtney rolled her eyes. You weren't? Noelle asked, sounding genuinely surprised. With a hint of his 14-year-old self in his voice, Courtney's sweat dropped at Noelle and sighed, shaking her head. And you wonder why people wonder how I put up with you. she muttered. We both know why you do, Noelle retorted, his lips curving into a light smile. Good point, she hummed, kissing his cheek. Ew, gross. An elf-possessed female magic knight gagged. A silver bullet flew and grazed her arm, causing said elf-possessed female magic knight to hiss in pain. Do you mind? Noelle deadpanned. The female elf-possessed magic knight looked ticked off, ready to shout when a voice spoke up. Everyone stop. They all looked up, gasping to see Queen Aesir, and looked up above them. Mother? Noelle looked up at his mother and licked. The elf-possessed magic knights within the area of House Silva looked at Licht in surprise. Licht? What's he doing here? And with a human no less. Everyone please stop this endless fighting. The humans are not our enemies. Licht spoke. This caused several elf-possessed magic knights to bear confused expressions at Licht's words. They're not our enemies? One repeated. That's right. We had been tricked and used by a devil that manipulated us behind the scenes, all in order to gain a body in this realm, and our demise became the end result, along with this spell. Licht announced. I was not the one who casted this spell on our souls, but in actuality, it was the devil. In order to gain his true goal, several of the elf-possessed magic knights began murmuring to themselves, uncertain on what to think or say at Licht's words. Well, Licht is our tribe leader, so shouldn't we listen to him? One asked. I dunno, maybe. Another murmured. I guess it wouldn't hurt to listen. Queen Aesir glanced over at Licht and gave him a nod, as well as a light smile. Licht looked over at Aesir and nodded as well. While they're distracted, I'll get Asta and Noelle to come out so they can free the elf souls of your tribe, Aesir told Licht. Licht gave a nod and watched the Silverette Clover Queen head inside House Silva. After that, he turned to face Courtney and Noelle. I apologize if we were interrupting your moment, Licht told them. Both Noelle and Courtney found themselves blushing, then looking away from each other. Moment? What moment? Both Courtney and Noelle questioned at the same time. Licht chuckled in amusement at the two's attempt to deny it. Just as Queen Aesir flew outside with Asta and Noelle, Ren, Lumiere, and his elf counterpart showed up. What's going on? Lumiere wondered aloud. It looks like Aesir's plan she told us earlier is about to start. Ren noted. And his elf counterpart watched, but didn't say anything as Noelle's right hand glowed a grayish-white color, signifying it being imbued with magic. Ooh, what kind of magic is that? Lumiere asked, stars in his eyes, not even noticing that more of his body had begun to crumble away. I've never seen it before. Heal uncle, Ren deadpanned, holding back Lumiere. You're crumbling. Aw come on, Lumiere pouted. I just want to know what kind of magic that is. You're about to find out anyway. Yuno's elf counterpart deadpanned. Noelle raised her right arm upward after her right hand became imbued by the grayish-white mana of the magic she was using. Purge magic. Absolute cancel, Noelle declared. Asta raised the demon dweller sword above his head and absorbed the spell into it. After a few seconds, he did a downward slash with it so it looked like rain falling from the sky. Regardless, the spell hammered the elf-possessed magic knights, thus slowly removing the elf souls from their human counterpart bodies. They're free, Ren muttered softly. They are, yes. Licht nodded, smiling lightly. But wait, you're not leaving? Faye remarked in surprise. Licht turned to face the light magic spirit and nodded. That is correct, Licht replied. It is true that all I wanted was to save my tribe from Zagred's grasp. Once I accomplished that, I'd go back to the afterlife. He then put an arm around Ren and Yuno's elf counterpart. But I know Tisha would want me to get to know my son and granddaughter. She'd tell me that she doesn't mind waiting in the afterlife to see me again. Ren couldn't help the warm smile at her grandfather. Then she blinked, looking at Yuno's elf counterpart, who is technically her uncle. And I just remembered, you don't have a name, Ren said, looking at Licht. Did you or grandma talk about what kind of name to give your kids if you had a boy? We did, yes, Licht replied before frowning soon thereafter. Though sadly our baby name list has been lost for centuries, so I can't tell you what was on it. Well, we can't just call him Yuno's elf counterpart, Ren pointed out. True, Licht laughed lightly. Well, he has a variation of wind magic, and I'd imagine his second magic attribute could be light or sword. Regardless, I think, Cain, Yuno interjected. His name should be Cain. The three looked at Yuno with a blink at his sudden suggestion. Cain, that means warrior, doesn't it? Ren asked. And golden, Licht added. I say go with it. Queen Aesir smiled. Is that okay with you, son? Licht asked the counterpart. The young male elf hybrid glanced between his niece and father before shrugging. Sure, he replied nonchalantly. It's an alright name. Cain it is. Welcome to the family, sweetie, Aesir chirped happily. What? son, counterpart? What did we miss? Noelle demanded. Short version, began, gesturing to Cain. He's my elf counterpart, son to Licht and Lady Tisha. I think you get the rest. And not to mention my younger uncle. Ren deadpanned. Queen Asir laughed lightly at Ren's remark. Wah, asta Noelle, and Courtney gasped. How? Noelle began. You don't want to know. Ren groaned. Before she sighed. At least that mess is over with, thank God. Okay, but question. Asta spoke up. Where are Licht and Cain going to stay? Why, the Silva house of course. After all, that's where Ren dear is staying. Asir smiled. Yuno's elf counterpart, now named Cain, sighed and pinched the bridge of his nose. Oh joy, he groaned. It won't be that bad, Ren assured her uncle. Cain glanced over at his niece and scoffed. Humph, if you say so, Cain grunted. I'd rather be in the Golden Dawn with my human counterpart, but I guess I have no choice, huh? Nope, Asir grinned. You make it sound like we're gonna torture you, Asta said. Cain looked over at Asta and snorted. And you make it sound like you lot won't torture me, Cain remarked blankly. That would be my mother's job, Noelle admitted. And you make it sound like you lot won't torture me, Cain remarked blankly. That would be my mother's job, Noelle admitted. And that's only when she's not focused on Ren's love life. Cain just stared at Noelle for several seconds before replied. What happened? Cain asked, a deadpan expression on his face. Something tells me I don't want to know, but here I am, asking anyway. She's been trying to set Ren up with ever since she first got here, Asta stated. Why am I not surprised? Cain spoke blankly before sighing. Oh, fine, I'll stay at the Silva house. Besides, she already got the job done. At this, the group blinked. Come again. Noelle blinked. Cain pointed to the magic stone around Ren's neck. The magic stone. Cain began. From what I've heard Vanica say while I was inside it's some type of tradition when it comes to, what's the word? Courting? Marriage? I don't remember. Wara, Asta gasped, facing the two. Wait, when did it get around? Ren blinked, before deadpanning at Yuno looked at Ren and gave a sheepish smile. I couldn't help it, alright, but I had it in my hand. When did you? Ren began. Hold it, Noelle yelled. Are you telling us you two actually are? Just smirked at Noelle's outburst. Not yet. Grinned lightly, wrapping his arm around Ren's waist to pull her close, making her yelp. But she is now mine. Hooray, Queen Asir cheered before her voice became stern. She may be yours now, but please, treat her like an equal. If you don't, she jabbed his chest with her right index finger. I'll have to have a long talk with you. I've taught you and Asta how to treat a lady. Now be sure to do so with Ren. Believe me I will. Smiled, kissing Ren's cheek, making her squeak. Cain put his hands to his face. Oh God, the fact that I was subconsciously inside of you for 16 years doesn't make seeing it any better. Cain groaned loudly. And he's been smitten with her since day one. I'm sure you had to deal with his dreams of Ren. Faye began sarcastically. Cain groaned loudly. Wait, he did? Faye gasped. Oh, do tell. Lieb smirked, standing next to Asta and Noelle. Okay, that's enough, Ren shrieked, blushing pink. Pfft. Queen Asir couldn't help but laugh. That's just too adorable. This time, even found himself blushing red, while everyone else just laughed lightly. Even Noelle found herself chuckling a bit at the interaction and teasing of Ren and End of chapter 44. Link down to the comments if you want to read the rest of the story. I hope you all enjoy. Goodbye.